How you doing? How everyone? How's
Hello, hello.
everyone? Great to see you, Manny, in the new studio.
Likewise, here live from Replit headquarters in the Replit studio. New setting, but pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's great to have Manny here. It's been absolutely amazing to be able to kind of work from different parts of the world, but finally in the same room. It sounds like we've got a couple people from Chicago checking in, and like you said, Manny, it seems to be cold out there, so I hear a lot of comments about it.
Yeah, I'm getting some comments here. When I left, it was I think like 30 degrees and about a foot and a half of snow. So bit of an upgrade coming here to Foster City.
Yeah, not too bad. Well, thank you all so much for joining. We've been very excited just because we're seeing like a lot more of you kind of returning and being part of these streams. I talked a little bit about it last week, where I'm just seeing a lot of folks here, and it's just great to see you all. So I'm also really excited because we have a really special guest coming in near the end of this session. I don't want to spoil any surprises, but just absolutely thrilled for the kind of sessions you'll be hosting very very soon. So I always hear a lot from everyone about trying to get in a little bit deeper into some of the live builds, things like that. So we're always listening to feedback and very excited to kind of bring that over soon. And yeah, last night we had an event. We had a community event here in Foster City. A lot of us were here together. Thank you all to those that kind of came out and joined us for that. And it was absolutely amazing to see you all. We're having events. I think we had probably 4 or 5 different events around the world just this week. We had Singapore, a couple in Australia, Japan, here in Foster City, and then I believe one in India as well. So again, a lot more coming very, very soon. So excited to see you all. Yeah, a lot of great things coming on the community side, the live stream side. So keep your eye out for a lot more to come. But yeah, very, very excited.
Yeah, if you were at the event last night, definitely say hi in the chat. It'd be awesome if you're here too. But yeah, Francisco, I got a lot of great comments from folks, and people kept asking like how often we were going to do these. Like, I feel like they want these to happen on a regular cadence. Any thoughts on that, Francisco? Like in terms of how frequent you're thinking about having these in person, in headquartered events?
Yeah, I think for the very least, at least like here, and if you're anyone for anyone in the Bay Area, we're hoping to have them probably every other month, or at the very least once a quarter. We're also we have a bit of a satellite office over in New York, so we're hoping to have a couple more coming in through New York as well, and just all over the world. Today, Marcelo isn't here with us today, who is working with us on the Brazil side. I see him in the chat there. There's a lot coming across Latin America. There's a lot coming into Brazil. We talk a little bit about our ambassador program. It's right now it's invitation only, and we just onboarded about I think it's like 15 to 20 new ambassadors just this past week actually. So and a lot of them are hosting events around the world. So again, a lot more to come soon. There's a public page as well that we're going to be launching that has all the events that are happening, how to become an ambassador, a lot more information. And I know some of you in the chat I've connected with over email and excited to kind of probably potentially invite you into the program itself. So very very excited.
So pumped for the community side of things in 2026. We've got ambassadors that are coming on board. We've got these live streams that are happening, the in-person events. Like, I just feel like, there's so much appetite for this, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely likewise. And I think on the live streams too, we will continue for as much as we can to, keep hosting these every Thursday. We're going to take a little bit of a break along the holiday season. And every once in a while, we'll shift a day or two. We'll always let you know in advance and potentially a little bit more on the live stream side coming very soon. Again, we have a very special guest here coming in the end. We're just thrilled to introduce, or I mean, many of you know him. You'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, but anyways, I can talk about community all day long. But with that, I'll pass it on over to Manny, who is going to talk a little bit more about just all the releases that are coming through. Manny's now here in the office with us, and he understands kind of like the speed at which we're running. He's been with us for some time, but he's really getting to see it in person. There's a lot more coming next week. So before we jump into things coming next week, we'll jump. That's a next week live stream. I'll pass it over to Manny. Talk a little bit about just some of the greatest new updates that have been around the corner.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Francisco. One of the things that we want to do with these streams is help you keep pace with all of the cool things that the Replit team is shipping. I feel like every week there's a new feature that I'm so excited about. And then before I really get to dig in, there's a new feature that I have to learn more about. And so I think this is a space for us to come together and like think about all the cool new features that are being built and kind of help work through different examples and really make sure that you're adding these new tools that are available to you on Replit to your toolkit. And there have been three big updates in the last couple of weeks that have been really interesting. I think are really going to upgrade the way you work in Replit. The first has been design mode. And so we're going to talk a little bit about design mode. What is it? When to use it? I'm going to show you some examples in terms of how I'm working in design mode. The second is fast mode. Great way to make quick edits to your projects. And then the third one, which I'm super pumped about, is our new Stripe integration that is going to make it super easy for you to monetize your applications. And I am really pumped about that because I have like 100 vibe coded apps and I keep, thinking like, okay, of these vibe coded apps, which ones are actually making me money? So the Stripe integration is going to help a great deal with helping you monetize all of your favorite vibe coded apps. And then there's going to be one more that I want to jump into as well. One more additional feature that I want to show you as well. And of course, as we go along, feel free to drop your comments in the chat. I'd love to hear in particular. Have you had an opportunity to work with design mode? If so, how did you use it? And what's been your overall experience? So, when design mode, the way I think about design mode is the opportunity to iterate through really beautiful design options very fast. And in particular, leveraging the best of large language models out there for these sorts of tasks. And right now, one of the better models for this is Google Gemini, and that is the key engine for design mode. But essentially, I'm using design mode to whip up a whole bunch of different options and prototypes for a new project that I might want to consider. And so if you go to Replit, you'll see a new tab now. You'll see a new tab now that now we have a design mode tab here. And for design mode, I think of a couple of different options. So when I want to go with design mode, if I'm looking for a new landing page, if I'm building a portfolio website, and I actually have a couple that I built here that I'll show you in a bit, personal websites, static pages, event pages. I think these are really good build types for design mode. And so last week I was playing around with it and I thought like, hey, it would be kind of cool to upgrade my personal website. So this mannybernabe.com here was actually vibe coded in Replit too. But I was just keeping it pretty simple. I just wanted a website that was functional, a header, and I wanted just to list out all the different projects that I had worked on. I didn't focus too much in design, pretty straightforward here. But I wanted to think about how I might jazz up this my personal portfolio website and make it a little bit more interesting. Like what types of styles would I want to think about? And I think historically it's been pretty tough for a couple of reasons. Number one is getting to think about the different stylings of different websites and figuring out what's the difference in different layouts and moods and topography and imagery. Like that's all been historically tough. Now with design mode, that's actually pretty straightforward now. And then second has been the cost. So if I wanted to spin up a whole bunch of different websites that were personal to me, that was pretty pricey to do. But with design mode, that's not the case. And so let me walk you through a number of different builds that I did. So I have this tutorial that I put together on how I
Manny,
yeah, go
sorry to
ahead.
interrupt. It looks like we're getting some comments about the screen share being blurry. I know we're a little delayed, so maybe it was something previous. But yeah, if chat, you could let us know if it's still a little blurry. We can kind of keep an eye on that. Sorry about that.
Oh, I see. Oh, let me see. Let me try to reshare this. One moment, please.
Also been really cool to see all the different things that folks are building with design mode. I saw something here about uh, uh, here we go. Looks like someone is building a Metal Gear Solid UI website, which is just awesome. Not something I expected, which is really, really cool. And yeah, let us know what you're building with design mode. It sounds like a lot of different iterations that folks are kind of building into place. And also the non technical mockups, which is actually a very big reason that we wanted to build design mode. We heard a lot of feedback about people wanting to kind of have like a little bit of a better structure, something you could kind of, push out quickly. So yeah, really, really cool to see. Feel free to continue to let us know. Oh, back to you, Manny.
N- Great. How's this? Is this a little bit better? A little bit less blurry?
Looks good. Okay, looks like we're good.
All right, cool. Yeah, that Metal Gear Solid. That's a great example. Like, I think when it comes to design, and again, I'm not a designer, but I have been part of the process of developing new websites, and I have been part of design sprints, and I've worked with professional designers. And a big part of the upfront work is trying to get the mood of what you're targeting. So you have this mood board and you're putting things on there that you like, and it can be completely unrelated to the website. You're just trying to capture an essence. And that used to take a couple of days, put together a whole mood board. Then you'd have to extract out the different elements. Then you have to think about what the design looks like for that and the topography for that. And I kind of streamline all of that, and the way that I'm doing that is I'm going to say Google, and I say show me cool, I don't know, um cool portfolio websites. And then I'm looking for different examples here. And again, as a non-designer, I don't necessarily know how to describe what I want, but if I'm looking for if I see something that I like, I can say "Oh yeah, this is something that I like." So let's look for one that really pops out. um, let's see. Cool. Oh, I see. I mentioned show portfolio websites. So cool portfolio websites. So let's go with that and let's see if there's anything that really jumps out here. All right. So let's go with this one here. This looks interesting. And then I'll just look and I say okay, which ones do I like? And so I might grab a couple of these and put them on my whiteboard. And then as a non-designer, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a sense of what this style looks like. So I'll grab those examples and I'll drop them in something like Cloud, or you can go to ChatGPT and I'll say can you let me zoom in here. Can you describe this website style? Be specific. I want to try to replicate. And so I'll use AI to help educate me in terms of what are the attributes of this particular style. And let me drop this tutorial here in the chat. And let's see here. Okay, and in this tutorial, you'll see all the different websites that I built, and I walk you through the process here, what I'm explaining right now. And I walk you through the different prompts that I put together. So I built 7 portfolio design options for what I might consider next. And same type of process here where I'll find a cool example, I'll go here and I'll say describe this to me, and here Claude is describing it to me, and it's giving me the layout, the different elements, and then I might say give me a custom prompt for Replit, and customize this for me, Manny Bernabe, vibe coder and content creator. Drop that in there. And if we go back to the tutorial, you see me doing that here. So here is my full prompt. Here this one was the editorial luxury, and here's the full prompt, and here's what the final output looks like. And if you actually want to go visit the website, you can go here. These should be hyperlink. I'll have to fix that later. But you can see that this is Manny B, Code with Soul, kind of like a very like editorial, very professional type of prompt. And then I have another build here that was Playful Influencer. And you can see the prompt here. And this is going to be completely different. So I might want to try this on. Like, okay, is this like more in line with my style? And so I have 7 of these different websites that I built, all kind of customized to Manny. And it's kind of giving me a sense of how to describe these things. So like I'm learning about the layout, I'm learning about the topography, the design details, and some of these I might even use. Like I actually really like this one, like this kind of like this side by side kind of look. So let's go here. And again, these should be hyperlinks. So I have to fix that after the stream. Um, but I really like this one where it's just like you just go down through the work and it just changes here. And again, Manny Bernabe. So I got 7 of these options. That's a tutorial. So let's go back here to um, the the prompt. So here's the prompt that I asked Claude to put together on that build. And then I'll just grab this, go over to Replit. And again, you want to go into design mode, drop that in there. And you can do one extra step. I typically recommend the prompt enhancer here. I think this is an underappreciated tool. Like I think you should always be using this. I'll oftentimes come in here and just start with a generic prompt in Replit, and I'll say enhance this prompt, and Replit does a great job of fixing that. So click on that, and let's see what we get. And we just want to make sure that we like keep this like Mandy Bernabe focus here. So actually did. Cool. So it says modern dark portfolio hero website, vibe coder, content creator. Okay. And then again, the styling, core features, visual reference, and you can change these. And then that looks good. And let's start building. And my experience has been with design mode is that I actually don't like sometimes I don't like being too specific. Like I just kind of want to describe the general aura and the feel. And I want design mode to kind of go and like I want to give a lot of rope to design mode if that makes sense. Like I just feel like design mode has really good design aesthetic, sort of almost like I want to call it like an instinct of sorts. I know it doesn't sound right, but like I feel like I can trust it with like to make like really good design decisions as well. So that we'll let that cook for a while, and then again, so like the neat thing about this is now I have 7 different distinctive styles of portfolios, and now I can go through each one of these and say like, oh, I actually really like this. Like, I like the style. I like this, but I like the layout from this other build. So I'll combine my favorite things from each one of these options and combine them into one custom prompt and then go from there. And again, so like this is actually like I think a big deal because again I've been a part of design sprints where we would have 2 weeks to get to this one end output of having a really nice website like this. And we would spend a lot of time upfront with the client, and I was working with designers to make sure that we knew exactly what they wanted because we knew we just wanted to build one clean prototype. We wanted to come to them with one of these prototypes here. And it was because developing these was expensive. Like you needed a designer to develop all of these elements, the images, to put together the prototype. And so we would work really hard up front to like say, hey, what's your mood board? What topography do you like? What are your values, et cetera, et cetera? Like intensive work with the client because of the expense of having to develop a website. And what's interesting now is that that constraint is no longer the case. I think there is still some benefit in terms of getting tight with the prospect or someone that you're building something for, like to know what they want. but it's no longer because it's expensive to prototype. Now, like, I think, the way I would change it now, I would actually show a lot more finished prototypes up front to a client, to a prospect, or to myself if I treat myself as a client, to get a better sense and try to really hone in on what that client is going to love. And it's because the cost of developing these prototypes with tools like design mode have come drastically, they're much lower now. So I would love to hear from designers in the chat, to think about how, or to ask you how you think about this, because I think that's a big change in terms of how I would deal with clients and prospects. This idea that you can generate like almost an infinite amount of prototypes, very very short, like almost like the whole ideation part up front becomes like you ideate and you ideate and you build like upfront, just doing a whole bunch of iterations, and then the one build that you like, or three, four builds that you like, cool, combine those, smash those up into one, and then you're done. Like, so I kind of would love to hear from designers or product managers that have been a part of that process in terms of how you think this is going to change things. So, as we're waiting on our Replit build, let's go to the chat and let's see what people are asking here, what they're commenting.
Yeah, and then just a couple of like overall, it's just like statements here. Number one thing is, yeah, definitely this is a recorded live stream. We'll be sending out an email to everybody afterwards, and then we'll also be doing a couple of other events coming up very very soon next week. So keep an eye out for that, as well as a couple of different new initiatives that we'll be announcing. But yeah, great question, folks. There. Also, we'll be following up with. There's a calendar link that always allows you to kind of know what's coming up and what's around the corner. And great kind of like comments here around different things that people have built. Really cool to see just a variety of different apps and projects that everyone are kind of putting together. From Avi, creating like a very good speech to text copy. And some of the more enterprise grades, I saw it seems a couple of comments from David coming in here as well. So very very cool to see, and it's just again a lot of different possibilities and variety of what you can actually build with Replit.
That's very cool. Yeah, David, love to hear more about what you're building. If that's like a application for your company, or is that something that you're now selling?
Another thing I'm seeing too is I'm seeing a lot of like requests for a deeper dive on Stripe and the Stripe integration, actually kind of putting that together and building it out. What I'll say is we're doing a little bit of an overview today, but early next week we'll be doing a much deeper dive with a special guest, and we'll be announcing a little bit more information here at the end of the stream.
Stripe is a big deal. We're definitely going to talk about Stripe today because I know people are really eager to jump into that. So that's coming up for sure. And then next week we have a live build session, like a full hour and a half dedicated to Stripe, and we have what I would call almost like a fireside chat, Francisco,
Hmm.
with the Replit engineering team and the Stripe engineering team that worked on the Stripe integration. So there is going to be a lot of Stripe content coming your way, and rightly so. I am really excited about this. The ability to monetize your apps, such a big deal, and that's historically been a really big pain point. And this is where Replit shines, just making these like annoying like things about getting to a monetized app, making that easy. So a lot more Stripe content coming down the pipe.
Absolutely. And I see a couple of different folks kind of dropping into maybe some of the issues they may be having. I highly recommend reaching out to support. We do have a little bit of support in this live stream and in the chat. Shout out to support team, Kathy, and everyone else. But typically, like kind of getting that email out into them is usually the best way to kind of get up and going. And huge shout out to Cognito Coding, who is here today again. It's always great to see you.
Yes. Yeah, I think, like you definitely want to check out our discourse, and if you have an issue, drop your question there. We'll see it here in the Replit team, we'll see it, but then there's other like there's amazing community of builders in Replit, and chances are that they'll pick it up and they'll be able to add some help there. So if you have a question, definitely check out the discourse forum. Not enough people take advantage of that. That'd be a great way to get some help and support. In addition to like the support at Replit, as well, you definitely want to be sending them some opening up a ticket as well. They've been really great lately. Rez says, is Stripe integration live now? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. All right. It is. And I actually was building something with it just recently. So I'll show you what I've been building. Matt says Stripe payments with with SendGrid emails. Absolutely. Yeah. I think, you know, one thing that we've talked about, Francisco, is a Replit intermediate series. So we did a 0 to 1 build, so like a 0 to 1 like idea to prototype, full build, hour and a half, last 2 weeks ago, and that was really well received. And what people wanted is like, Manny, we want part two of this, but now we want you to go from a prototype to a SaaS application. And so, Matt, like I think that's very much in line. Like as you go from like a prototype to a SaaS application, you need authentication, you need email services, you need payments integration. So that's definitely on the agenda. That's something that I'm excited about. That we're putting on, like this idea. Like, okay, now we built a prototype. How do you like get it out there, deploy, so that you can actually start getting users and actually start making some money on these applications, which I know we're all super excited about.
No, absolutely. So yeah, a lot more to come there. And I'm getting a lot of questions about the discourse. I unfortunately, so I'm going to drop in a discourse link in the chat. I believe through your stream, it may only pop up in the YouTube comments, but the email after, I'll go ahead and include an invitation as well. And the discourse itself has some incredible people in there. We've had Raymar, Andrew, Eric, and Steve, who are like just very active, and ourselves too are kind of putting in some announcements and following up where we can. So after the email, or excuse me, after the live stream, we'll be sending an email with a recording of the event, our next event, an event calendar, and as well as an invitation to the discourse link to join our community. And there's one coming in now. You'll be able to see kind of pop up here. Yeah, great question. Oh, Manny, I believe you might be muted there.
Thank you very much, Francisco. All right, so here is our build from Replit on that prompt that I just dropped in. So again, did I say, okay, so here was the example. And I went to Claude, I said, describe this to me, give me a prompt in Replit, make it customizable for Manny Bernabe. And here is the design that I got, which is like, as a first shot, it's like it captures that really nicely. Like I think that's a perfect a perfect example right there. It's really nice. And again, like I encourage you to check out that tutorial, kind of laying that out. One other thing before we get into Stripe that I wanted to show you. Let's see here. Let me bring up my agent here. New machine here, so still kind of getting used to things here. Okay, so one other thing that I wanted to show you is fast mode. So if you recall during our last stream, it's actually fast mode dropped. And the idea behind fast mode is that we want to make it easy for you to make really quick edits. So the way I think about fast mode is, if I want to make a change to my my app, I have a couple of different options. So I can go and I can select the object and change the text via the object selection tool, and that's here. So like if I go here and I click on this, and I can change this to Manny Bernabe exclamation mark, or change the name here. That's one of the option. And I think if you're trying to change text or copy, that's the way to go. But say I wanted to change this UI or this animation, then for me, that's a good candidate for fast mode. So I might say like, on the hero image, can you make it such that on click rotates 30 degrees to the left, and then drop that in. And again, I turned on fast mode. And again, like fast mode for me is if I want to make quick edits and the object selector tool is not an option, it's not really going to involve text. I think fast mode is a really good option for that. And again, that was released last week. Kind of, you may have missed that, but bug fixes, visual tweaks, small features, quick iterations. Fast mode is something that you want to add in your toolbox. And I just heard a click in my here. So like, oh, there it is. See? So check it out. Oh, it clicks, it rotates all the way around. That's pretty neat. And that happens super quick. So fast mode is nice. And I believe that fast mode is free for a couple of weeks. I have to, well, I'll find out exactly how long. So like, definitely take advantage of fast mode. And again, for these quick edits, it's like really neat, super fast, and very cost effective. So I just wanted to highlight that. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Stripe. Like everybody's so eager to talk about Stripe here. I think this is such a big deal. Like I've been saying that all the stream, but I don't think you can overstate how big of a deal this is, and how why I'm excited about this. Because one is I have like a bunch of apps that I've built, and they're apps that I know I might want to share with other people, and it would be great to monetize. Like vibe coding, if you do it enough, gets a little pricey. So it would be great for me to be able to monetize some of the vibe coded apps have um, that I have built. One, it gives me motivation and gives me signal that I'm building things that people care about. Two, if it's a tool that is really adding value to people and people pay for it, that's great. They're paying for it and they're helping me maintain that tool to give me incentive and motivation to be continually getting in that application, making updates, taking care of it, and making adding new features and things like that. And so the Stripe integration is, really is really helpful on that front. And I think of a couple of different options. Like if I want to build a storefront onto my application, say I have a site for my local business, I'm selling different things, or I'm doing e-commerce and I'm selling things online, and I have a whole bunch of different things that you can buy, like merch, for example. Then I can build a storefront with different pricing, and then have that like have like a cart of sorts, and have people pick the things that they want to buy and then automatically check out through Stripe. You can create subscriptions. So like you can create your own micro SaaS applications. And I'll show you an example of how I'm doing this with one of the demos that we built recently. But essentially, like in Replit, you can have an application that tracks the usage for a new user, and then when they reach a certain usage, then you can offer to upgrade them to a newer level of the app. And to manage that subscription, you can use Stripe one-time payments. So we're going, we got a couple of bills that we're going to demo for you here. But the idea here is like, say that you're doing a service, a one-time service for someone, and you want to bill them for that. You can just write that up, maybe have like an invoice app of sorts in Replit, and then like automatically send that invoice to that individual, that buyer. You can sell digital products. You can, and then other ways of monetizing your app. Somebody mentioned creating a Patreon community of sorts for a particular type of creators. You can do that as well. So a lot of really cool um, ideas that I want you to think about as you're building your applications. And for me, this is kind of like the nice thing about having this Stripe integration and Replit is you're going to get a couple of things. Number one is you're going to get a development sandbox of Stripe in your application. And so what that means is that you're going to have the freedom to explore different ways in which you might want to monetize your application. It's almost like you're vibe coding the monetization part of your application without necessarily having to go and set up a new account in Stripe and do all those things that you might not want to do up front. You might just want to explore, like, hey, do I want people to give me like a one-time payment, or do I want people to subscribe to my application, or maybe I have different tiered options, like for different usages, or maybe I have it like on a monthly basis or like give them like annual plans. So, the nice thing about this integration is that it's pulling into Agent all of the most recent documentation around the Stripe API. So you don't have to worry about that. You just work with Agent and you're talking with Agent about all the different ways in which you can monetize your application. And then when you're ready, then you go and you claim the sandbox in Stripe and you set up the backend in Stripe and you go into production pretty straightforward. But I think for me, one of the big key takeaways here is that you get to explore what that monetization feature looks like for your application. The other really neat thing here I'm really pumped about is that this integration not only helps you build out that application, how monetization is going to look on your application, but it creates a real time and persistent sync between Stripe and your app. And so if you have, like, say, if we go back to that example of the storefront, if you have like listed prices on different objects in your storefront and you go to Stripe and you say you want to change the prices, and if you change it in Stripe, the price for an item, it will reflect back in your Replit application. So that type of like that sync and that handshake between Stripe and the application, I think is going to like just make it easier to maintain your applications. Okay, so really pumped about this. I know, like, I'd love to hear in the chat, like, have you been using this integration? We've had this live for about a week. If so, like, have you built anything? Any issues? Any challenges? What are you excited about? And then as that's coming in, let me show you how I've been just getting familiar with this integration. So this is a build that we did a couple weeks ago, and the idea is that if I'm selling new merch, so like now I have my new hat here, build mode. Excuse me. Um, and I want to create ads for this merch. Like, that should be easy to do. So I built an application. I upload my merch, and then I get this ad or an image of somebody wearing my hat, and then I can post this to an Instagram ad or an X ad. And I thought this was cool. And then we have like some nice features here. And then the next thing that came to mind is like, well, how would I monetize this? How would I like make this available for folks to actually like use? And instead of them building this, they can actually just use the service of creating their own ads, and then they can pay me for that. I'll take care of the upkeep and the image generation and all that good stuff. And so what I did is I took this application and I remixed it and I forked it. Um, I'll show you how to do that in a bit because I think that's also underappreciated. And then I added authentication. And the nice thing about Replit is it also has native authentication. Authentication is what you use to log into different websites. So when you say you go in, you might want to use your Google account, etc. That's authentication. And I built that, and then Replit also allows you to create a database to track all of the different users. So if I go here to my database, I have new users is just one, but I have kind of the prerequisites of what I need to be able to charge someone. I have authentication, so I know who's coming in, who's logging in, and then I have a user database, so I know what their level of what level of the application they're in, whether the freemium version or the paid version. And so if I go here to the to the build, and I spent some time last night doing this. Now what you'll notice is here I have a new tag here that says one free left. And essentially what that means is that people, the idea is like, this is a kind of a freemium version. Like, you come in, you test it out, and if you like it, then you know, you have to pay up and you have to subscribe. So let me generate that, and that's gonna take a moment. And in the meantime, let me go through the text here. Excuse me, the chat here. See if there's any questions.
Yeah, and then as you're going through some of those, one of the things that I kind of noticed is we're seeing a lot of people jump into the discourse. I just saw like a flurry of all these folks jumping in. So again, I'll be sending out another link at the end in our email for anyone that's joining here today, and make sure you kind of get that. Also, there's a couple of links I'll be dropping in continuously as we go through the stream here.
Thank you. This is a good comment from Jared. And yes, um, currently design mode is only available when you start from the design mode tab. So again, if you go here and you go here, it kicks off here. Now, the ability for you to use design mode in existing projects is very high on the list of folks here at Replit. They want to be able to use design mode in their existing projects, and I know a lot of folks that are wanting to use it as well. So definitely on the radar to be able to implement design mode in existing projects, and that might be easier for me too because as I mentioned, I vibe coded my personal website here in Replit. This is a Replit project. So once design mode comes onto line, I could theoretically just go and say like, okay, like, give me like whole bunch of options on this already existing website and just kind of change the skin and make it look different. I might just remix each one of these and then apply design mode to all of them and see which ones I like. So thank you for that question, Jared. Yes, and very high on the list for the folks here at Replit to make design mode available to any one of your builds. Let's see here.
Also seeing a couple of cool projects that people are building. Really cool to see. I think a lot of times, in some of these things you see online, where it's like people are creating these like massive businesses, which of course you can on Replit. I know Victor over in part of our community was talking about how he has like like 90,000 subscribers, sending out over 100,000 texts through his like SaaS product. But at the same time, there's like these smaller solutions, right? That you can kind of just build. A lot of times we're waiting for a solution to kind of come onto the market. Today, you can just build your own, right? We have here from Easily, I've built an EV charging reservation app for those with EV cars in my apartment building and also a booking app for my services, which is great to see, right? Where I'm constantly seeing these kind of examples of people building like smaller tools to do like their everyday kind of tasks or issues or some of the challenges. It just makes everything a little bit easier, but always really fun to kind of see those examples as well.
I, I had a conversation with someone yesterday at our live event here, um, um, and this person was a commercial drone pilot, and he custom built an app that kind of gave commercial drone pilots everything they needed or they need to run drones. And he's not a software developer, but he has a lot of deep expertise in flying drones commercially. So the exact weather that you need, like you need like special like readings, like you just can't get generic weather reports, restrictions around airports, like different tests and things like different regulations. He even built a chatbot that was that had documentation around FFA regulations around drones built into the application. He built that for himself, and now he's commercialized that. Now he has that as a SaaS offering for other commercial drone pilots. And so for me, like what Vibe Coding is doing and tools like Replit are doing is they're making it possible for folks with deep expertise in an area to build out these custom tools. There was another person that I met. This person was a former VP of marketing at a big ad agency or something to that effect. And he built out his own custom data enrichment tool, um, again, based on his deep expertise in that space. And so, that's what I'm really pumped about it. I think if you have like if you care enough about a problem, if you have enough experience about a problem, you can build tools like Replit to build those tools for yourself and for a community and even get it monetized now even easier with integrations like Stripe.
Absolutely. Also, another couple questions here that I'm seeing. Is do we add a fee on top? So no. So the Stripe fee is the fee that it's like a flat fee. I remember being in the room when we are talking about like what that was going to work like, and I was like terrified we're going to add an additional fee on top. That is not the case. So this is just the Stripe fee that is like the standard one that kind of goes out. So check out your application and kind of dig in there to kind of better understand that. Also, I'm seeing like some really cool examples that are coming through. One from Violet. Again, I've seen you all across the stream, so thanks so much for joining. Zero coding tech experience minus SaaS in a marketplace. I already have a business that does 150K a year annually. So manually now having this live stream going ground. So like again, like issues like I guess example like these really just show the breadth of everything, right? We have somebody kind of creating, a tool that essentially kind of helps them, be able to kind of understand, where is there space for the rental or excuse me, their EV car. At the same time, we have other people that are creating, large businesses. So we always see kind of this wide variety of different solutions that you can build. And I think one of the things that Manny talks about a lot that I really appreciate is again non-technical experience, right? You can do anything from non-technical up to like a lot more complex apps depending on your expertise, but it's such a versatile tool that anyone can really use. And then also on free, I'm also at a lot of free questions, like anything free. Very soon, I think one of the things that Replit tries to do is whenever there's like kind of like a new feature or a new opportunity to kind of test out something new, we'll try to have like kind of opportunities for people to test it out free. So can't talk about too much right now, but there's something coming along the pipeline very, very soon. The team is always working very quickly, and after we saw how many people use, some of the fast mode and design mode and other kind of new features, they were just really excited. People get really excited to kind of see all of the great feedback. So a lot more to come very, very soon. Awesome. Looks like people are liking this. Is great.
Very cool. All right, so let's go back to this build here. Okay, so now I'm in my SaaS version of this application. I've run one generation. Okay, so somebody comes on, they've authenticated, they log in, and then they got a free sample. And then say like, hey, like let's say like that they want to get another generation. And now when you go to generate, it says, wait a minute now. Now, if you want to continue, you have to upgrade to the pro version. So here's all the things that you get: unlimited AI ad generations, stylings, brands, like all the cool, then opportunity upsell. And then you can click on this, and now you get sent to the Stripe landing page. And so to test this, what you can do is you can go to, oh no, my mistake. Perfect. I wanted to go here. So let me grab the documentation here. So Replit docs for Stripe are amazing. Thank you, team, for that. So if you want, if you want to test a transaction, you can go here and grab the sample um, transaction information. So let me go here. Just close these out to make it a little easier to navigate. Okay, so we can drop in that sample card. The date can be any date in the future. CVC can be any number. This can be anything, and then any zip code 12345. And then unclick that, and then boom, I subscribe. And then this should automatically take me back to my application. And now you see that I'm listed as pro. Now I have the pro account. Isn't this so cool? Like in an hour or so, I went from a prototype to like, not 100% of the way there, but pretty close to having like a fully like micro SaaS type of application here. So let's test that out. Let's make sure that now like I get the right I get the right authentication here. So again, I got the free sample. Then I put up the wall like, hey, no, you can't continue anymore unless you upgrade. And now that they've upgraded or that I've upgraded, now I've got the pro account, and now it should generate new AI ads for this account. And again, in Replit, like I've got the database for that. I've got the users here. I'm the user here. You can see that I'm active. I have generation count, so I can see how many images have been generated. So I think so that's really neat. So let's go back here, and then awesome. So like, yeah, I'm like back up and running. Isn't this so cool? I think this is amazing. The other neat thing as well is, again, because the the Stripe integration is really nicely coupled with Replit. Essentially, you can bring in all of the Stripe details that the customer has put into your app, and bring them into the app. So, for example, if I want to cancel my subscription, for example, like, you think like, oh, I got to build that out. That's going to be a hassle. Not the case, because of this integration. A user can just go to manage my subscription, and they can see what they're paying, and they can cancel the subscription right here. And they can see like what their invoice history looks like. I don't have to build any of this. This is absolutely amazing. Like, Stripe is handling all of this. It's coming straight from Stripe. So if somebody wants to cancel a subscription, boom, it's all handled here. I don't know. I don't know how this could be easier. This is amazing. I'm so excited about this. I'm gonna go back through all my apps. I'm gonna think about like which ones I can monetize, which ones I can go to market with and start advertising for. And I think, I'm really excited about this. So with that, I think it's a good time to bring on our very special guest. See, let me bring on Raymar. How's it going?
Yo, what's up, everyone? How you doing?
Welcome.
Um, Raymar is our super special guest. You may have seen him on past streams. He's a Replit ambassador. Man, and I love watching your content, Raymar, because you go deep. I mean, I feel like I go like a certain level, but like Raymar goes like many more levels down. So if you want to really get into nitty gritty, into like everything soup to nuts, like all the highs, all the lows, like Raymar's got great content for you. So Raymar, tell us a little bit about the stream that we have planned for Tuesday. You're going to be leading that. And again, like for folks that want to go really deep on Stripe, what can people expect on Tuesday?
Yeah, thanks. Super excited to get a chance to do some of this stuff at a deeper level and really dive, I think, into the technical side of implementing some of these connectors and working with the tools. Next week, what we're going to do is I've built a little like freelance time tracking app. So we won't go into how to like build that app, which we might do in a future episode. But what we're going to do is walk through the entire process of remixing that app, setting up the connectors, integrating Stripe, and actually building out like a invoicing system for this time tool. So basically, the tool integrates with your Google Calendar, and it allows you to add time blocks, or if people put things on your Google Calendar, bill for that time, assign it to a project, add some tags, just some real basic stuff from a functionality standpoint. But maybe you then want to like invoice your clients in one click, or you want to kind of be able to bill for that time, and you already have this stuff set up in Stripe. You have clients and pricing for hours or products that you sell, things like that. So we're going to build a tool that basically allows you to talk to Stripe, connect those payments, subscription services, et cetera, and access that in Replit and be able to kind of send off an invoice for that. And through the process, we'll just talk a little bit about what we're doing, how the agent's working, the different things you can do inside of Stripe. And we won't cover everything because there's so much you can do with Stripe. But yeah, that'll be a nice deep dive, and we'll get actually into like working with the agent and seeing it hopefully come together all in live in real time.
That's awesome. Like for sure, experienced folks want to tune into this. Love having you on the team because you go really deep. What about newbies? Like, what can folks that are maybe like not as experienced builders, what can they expect? Should they like come
Yeah,
and
I think
attend?
I think everyone will learn from this. If you're kind of new, what we'll do is while the agent's working, is I'll try to describe and explain what's happening, and we'll use it as like some real educational moments because the agent's going to be doing its thing again in real time. And for the advanced folks, hopefully we can ask or answer questions in the comments and really dive a little deeper. I think we're not going to get like super advanced. This is going to be hopefully like intermediate type stuff. But what we hope to do moving forward is just to do a lot more things like that, where we're actually diving into the guts of like more complex applications. I think it's super cool to see design mode does this, and hey, like you can one shot this feature. But what happens after like the agent gives you this package and you want to refine that? You want to tweak the UI. Maybe there's some extra elements you want to move around. And so like I think um, we'll have a good time just diving deep into the weeds on a bunch of different like products, and we'll even give you all an opportunity to like suggest the types of things we build, the types of features we build, so that we can really make sure that the stuff we're doing is in line with what what you all want to see, and also like very practical as far as like how to accomplish the things. And I'll show you how I work inside of Replit, and then hopefully as we go, we'll bring other folks in to show you how they work in Replit, and over time you'll just kind of develop your own style, because one of the things is like it is its own entity. At a certain level, you have to learn how to talk to the agent, how to work with it, how much you can ask of it, the context with which you need to provide for it to get like what you need done. And so I think, for me, how I learn a lot of times is just watching other people do the thing. And so hopefully, like whatever level you're at, just watching somebody like, and we'll stumble through. Some things will go super smooth, some things will be a little tough, and like we'll have to just kind of like not get super awkward when things like maybe break, and just figure things out. But that's like the process, right? And a lot of building software and building complex tooling is about, like solving problems. And so I think watching other people solve problems in real time and watching them stumble through that will like show you like, oh, hey, everything's not perfect. We're going through the same stuff. Like when we use it, it's not always perfect. We got to kind of roll back sometimes, or try a new approach, or rethink how you attack a specific feature. And so like I think showing all of that and kind of going through that in real time will be super helpful for any skill level.
100%.
And yeah, and then we'll adapt as we go.
I'm looking forward to it, because when I watch your content, I always come away like with like, whoa, I didn't know you can do that in Replit. Like some of the stuff you build is like, whoa, that's like amazing. Like that's great. And your style sensibility is really good. Like Raymar showed me a preview of what he's building for next week. And I thought it was Gmail. Like it looks so clean. I'm like, dude, is this like a fork of Gmail? I was like, no, I custom built this in Replit. I was like, whoa, it looks awesome, dude. I'd pay for this. What time is the stream on Tuesday? And do we have an event page yet, Francisco?
Yeah, after the email, we'll be sending out the
Okay.
final time along with the Luma page. And yeah, we're just really excited. I think a lot of time in the comments, like, unfortunately, like, we always try to cover like as much as we can, right? We try to be as clear as we can, and I think we're gonna get better at that, just because we're also learning alongside with you, right? Like what sort of content actually sticks and what people want to see. And sometimes we'll do some deeper dives. Sometimes it's kind of more of an overview. But the thing I'm really excited about Rymar's stream is a lot of people I see in the comments like, can you just show us exactly step by step how this is integrated, or can I just watch someone and just build alongside with them? Like this is your like great chance to be able to do something like that. And we're going to be again diving into the Stripe side. I'm seeing a lot of comments about people talking about what can we do with Stripe, and how do we actually implement it. Rymar is going to basically take you through those steps, and you can really truly see the back end of things and the nitty gritty of how it gets built. So we're hoping to do a lot more of these moving forward. This is going to be one of our first, so we're going to learn together and just kind of dive in and just build, which is kind of what the stream is for.
Awesome. Yes, to David's comment here. Yes, please, if you have an integration that you really want in Replit, let us know. A chat in the, you can start a chat in the discourse. You can tag me. You can put it on LinkedIn or X. You can tag me. You can DM me. We can pass it along. But yeah, if you have integrations that you're interested in, definitely let us know. Somebody mentioned if we already covered payment integrations. We did. But and you'll get a link to the recording in just a bit.
Also on Tuesday, feel free to join us for Rymar stream. We'll be going kind of redoing another version of this and doing a little bit of a deeper dive.
Yes, all of this is being recorded. If you signed up for the email for the event, you'll get a follow-up email with the recording link as well. But you can always just go to the Replit YouTube channel and go under live, and you'll see the recording there as well.
Yeah, and one thing we always recommend is we have a Luma calendar link. I'll drop it in the chat, but also in the email. And if you sign up for the Luma calendar, any event that we have, whether it's like, our streams with Manny or kind of upcoming build sessions with Rymar or anything else in between, will always kind of go to the top of your inbox.
Awesome. Very neat. Okay. Anything else, Francisco, Rymar? Anything else from the chat?
Nothing big right now. I just want to say it's been really exciting to see kind of like the different things that people are creating and building. Please continue to let us know. You saw me laughing. Juan, yes, days of like big software, maybe different developers. I've seen multiple versions of this comment. Now we all are developers, right? So it's very, very cool to kind of be able to just dive in there and build.
I guess the question I would have is, developers, does that mean that you want more content focus on developers? Or are you saying that we're all developers now? So I'd love to hear how you're using that, because I could see, like, because we're saying like, hey, we're gonna give you more like deep dive sessions, build sessions, especially with Raymar next week. So I guess, are you excited for that? Like those deeper, like technical content types of type of content. I'd love to hear the clarification in the chat for that.
Awesome.
Go ahead,
Um,
Francisco.
I have one question here that we just didn't get to, and I see this a lot with some of the newer things, both to Rymar and Manny. So jumping off Jared's question, do you recommend building the front end UI or back end first for a complex app? I like this is kind of like sometimes of a bigger question, and there's different answers, but yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I'll let you take that one first, Raymar.
Yeah. I like to build in chunks. So, and usually that means I like to get the functionality that I'm looking for figured out first. And if that means, like, if I'm connecting to an API or to an external service, or if I want like something functional, some kind of business logic happening, I'll try to get that working first and not even like think about the style or the aesthetic of it. Just get functionally working something that like does the thing you want to do. And then I work in from there into like cleaning up the design and then adding more features. And so a lot of people try to, I think, attack too much at one time. The design mode is also a very good thing now if you want to try the front end first. So if you're more interested in the aesthetics and you're focused on like, hey, I want to get something that looks like what I want first, then starting with design mode is a great way to get like that skeleton, and then you can jump into build mode from there, obviously knowing you can't go back and forth from build mode and design mode. But as far as like when you get into more complicated stuff, I really think figuring out the core functionality first and then wrapping the UI around that. What you can also do though is you can give it suggestions in the beginning of a prompt. I want it to be inspired by X, or I want a modern simple dashboard with a sidebar on the left, or some kind of collapsible sidebar, or you can even use something like Figma or TL Draw to like give it a little wireframe or some kind of design to follow as you build out. And so the biggest thing I think is just trying not to do too much at once with the agent. It's like if you try to ask it to build you the whole Airbnb platform at once, it's probably not going to spit that out for you. But if you say, hey, I want a simple booking app for, X, Y, and Z, and you kind of limit that scope, then you can start from there and then build out more of what you need. So I guess I don't know if that answers the question, but that's how I think about that.
Yeah, looks like Hamida totally agrees, and something he does as well. Yeah, sorry, Manny.
Yeah, for me, right tool for the right job. If it's a static website, if it's a portfolio website, then you gotta start with design mode, because really the design is 90% of it, and then the back end is not going to be too complicated. But with something like my ad generator application, there, the back end is actually the more interesting part. Like what people care about is the ad being generated, and so for that, I'll start the traditional route, the legacy route of build mode. But then, I might go through the design mode there, but I'll start in the build mode route, just because for me, one of the when I start a new project, the first major milestone that I have in mind that I'm like just racing towards is to have a functional application, something that does the thing at least approximately of what I'm targeting. So for that ad generation app, it was like, can I upload a picture of a hat and can I get an image out of it? And when I got that, I was like, oh, like this is great. Like everything's downhill from here. Like the design, the UI, everything else is down. Like once that core functionality is there, like everything is like just smooth sailing. So I'm just racing to get there. And if it's anything more complicated than like a website or a static page, then I would start with build mode. Now, again, the cool thing is that the team is racing to make design mode available in build mode. So and the way this team ships, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like out by the end of the year. Like we're gonna wake up, might even happen like during the stream, right? Like, oh, good news, right? Like this happens to us all the time, Francisco. Like we're talking about it, and then like boom, like, oh, there's a tweet that goes out. So yeah, that's the way I would approach it. Is
Okay.
for complicated stuff, like start in build mode and just try to get to that working prototype as fast as possible. I just get such a rush when that hits, that like I just feel like the rest of the project is like smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, and I'd like to answer this question, this follow-up here about, is there tech debt associated with the strategy? I think this is what I was talking about, is building small and then scaling up. Just because I start small doesn't mean that I haven't like thought about what I want to do further down the project, or that like I didn't set the database up or the schema up ahead of time to kind of think through like the features I want to add later. So yes, there can be tech debt if you don't think about certain things and then you want to add a feature that it just wasn't like set up for. But also, like if you talk to any developer, like any core developer who would go through a traditional workflow like this, they're kind of going to think through what they want to build, and they're going to start small anyway. Like a developer and the traditional developer process doesn't have the ability to have like 10 CPUs running at once and writing like 8 files of code at one time, which is kind of what the agent does. And also, when the agent can get confused is when it's doing like that type of thing, versus like a traditional developer is still going to, even if they have like to eat an elephant, you still got to eat it one chunk at a time. So the real value, I think, in being a developer, learning some of these processes, is figuring out, how do you think about what you actually want to build, and then how do you break that down into chunks that allow you to start building the first layer, then the second layer, then the third layer, so that you can get to the complex app without having the whole thing fall apart, or without, what you're saying, having like all of this tech debt that at some point just makes the thing unusable. And there is a place, of course, where like AI assisted software development is just going to hit those thresholds. Like you're probably not going to build the most cutting edge, AI tools using AI itself. Like somebody's got to build the tools that build the tools, right? And so also knowing what the agent can do and the capabilities and what you're trying to build. And so thinking through some of that stuff, again, is hopefully, part of what we'll teach, is like not just doing the thing, but thinking through like, why did you do this first? Or how do you approach this to make sure that like, you don't end up buried with all that tech debt. But also, tech debt is unavoidable when you're building in software. Like almost always, you're going to inherit some tech debt, because there's always a trade-off between like what you want to build versus like the best way to build it. And again, we could go down lots of rabbit holes with that, but we won't today. For another day.
Yeah, 100%. I like to start off with like, I usually have like 5 big features for a new build. And yeah, I try to like focus on the first big feature, first core MVP, and then start adding features on top of that. So in the ad generation app, like the first one is like, can I generate an image? And then the second version, the additional feature was like, okay, can I add like text on top of that? And then the third feature was, can I integrate a company's color schema or like brand feel into that? And so, to Raymond's part, like just starting like simple, like, okay, what is the thing that this has to do? What's the most important main thing? And then I say like, okay, it would be cool if this thing does this as well, or it would be nice if this feature was added as well, and be building that out, but be doing that in sequence. And why I think that's helpful for me as a vibe coder is because I oftentimes don't know how to build out these different features. And also I don't want, I have to keep an eye on agent to make sure that it's not changing anything that I don't want it to change. So when I isolate on a feature by feature basis, it's just easier for me to learn about what I'm building, to be able to direct agent specifically at what I want, and to be able to isolate agent and make sure that it's, making the changes that I want. It's not changing anything else. And so I actually think like it's actually a long-term technical debt minimizer, just kind of going in sequence by piece, as building along and just kind of tracking each different step.
Yeah, that's a good point. When the agent kind of goes crazy, like it'll tuck some stuff in there sometimes that you're just like, I don't even know why this is here. And if you're not kind of going into smaller steps, or if you're not like watching that stuff, you can end up with multiple API calls to do the same thing. You can end up with just duplicate functions, like all sorts of stuff that, again, is not great. It all leads to tech debt.
Yeah, and for me, I'm managing myself too, and my motivation. And if I have a big, like I say, like a 5 feature prompt that I drop in there, and then I have to wait forever, like for agent to crank it out, and there's different errors, and it's like, it becomes kind of painful. Whereas if I sequence it like, oh, like I have a milestone here, like I have a working prototype. Oh, now I had this new feature. Like I just feel like I get a little bit more of a like I'm spreading out the dopamine hits, you know, over like a longer period of time. Like, oh, feature number 1 is up and available. Great, I feel great now. Like feature number 2, like, oh, feel good. And then like, it just allows me to stay with the project longer, which is ultimately the key here. Like the key is like, can you stay with the project long enough to finish it? And in a way, I'm trying to like also like manage my like experience and my motivation there. So I think it helps from that perspective as well.
Yeah.
Very neat. I think there were a couple of other questions here.
There's one here that there's two actually.
Sorry, I'm just gonna jump in real quick. For
yeah.
Hector, I know you're about to hop off, but yes, the next live stream will be a little bit more technical. Rymar is going to be like a lot more hands-on, and you'll be essentially like be able to build alongside with him. So great for anyone that's kind of watching and really wants to be a little bit more, especially on the Stripe integration side of things. That's what we're going to kick off with, and then as you mentioned earlier, we're going to be like taking in ideas from the community itself and kind of ramp up and do a lot more in the future. So like whatever people kind of want to see and build and upvote the most, we're going to kind of be focusing in on.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other one here is this is why I wish plan mode was better for discussion. And then we need a better plan mode. I feel like they said, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not comfortable with how to put, I keep hiding anyway. During my stream, I'm going to show you like some tricks. I have some little shortcodes, some shortcuts, some things that I like have learned along the way that I think will help with this. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll be sharing tips and tricks about how to get more out of the agent and hopefully Replit as a whole, as a tool, you know, as we go. So I'll share some of those tricks as we go. Got to tune in next week for that though. No secret sauce today.
Ha.
Say my first rodeo. Come on.
Awesome, y'all. Well, sweet. On that note, thank you all so much for joining. We sincerely appreciate you just like taking the time to meet with us. And again, one of the things that I really appreciate as well is that like I'm seeing a lot of the like the same people kind of tune in every Thursday, and we're really hoping to kind of build that out in a much bigger way and just be able to actually integrate you a lot more into these streams itself. Someone asked, is there a hot seat or is there a chance for us to actually like jump on stream and ask questions to build alongside with you? Absolutely. Rymar that's exactly kind of what he's hoping to do in the near future. So I would definitely follow along. Our titles may change a little bit in terms of like what we name these streams. I think over time we'll figure out like, hey, like this is more of an overview, or you know what, this is a lot more of a hands-on deep dive and build. And other times it'll be like kind of like one of the upcoming Stripe live streams on Thursday, not Tuesday with Rymar, but on Thursday, it'll be a little bit more of like, hey, how did this come together? Like, how did this like come to be? And what was the build process? We'll bring in some developers from both our side and Stripe side and talk a little bit about it. So keep an eye out on those. And over time, we're going to be able to kind of really hit a good groove. But again, I really appreciate you all kind of joining in here. And we'd love to see, folks coming back and just so much more to come. And I'm just so excited for all there is there. There's going to be another email going out again after the stream, probably later today at the latest by Monday, that'll have a recording of this live stream, a link to the discourse to join, a Luma calendar link for anyone that just wants to know like what is actually coming up, what live streams do we have. And of course, again, I really just want to reemphasize there's a really cool live stream coming up on Tuesday for all those that wanted to be more hands-on. So lots to come there. Check out that email. And yeah, I can't wait to see you all next week again, very, very soon. It's going to be great.
And Thursday also. So we have Tuesday hands-on build. And then Thursday, we're going to have more of a fireside chat kind of thing with the folks that built the integration from the Replit side and from the Stripe side as well. That's going to be a really good discussion. So I think you got to attend both. Put them on your calendar right now.
Awesome, everyone.
Right on.
Well, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate it. Had a wonderful time with everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See you soon.